Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way.
Today we're going to be talking about the subject of building a website. Now, why in the world would we talk about building a website in a class like this? Well, it's because in the modern age, that's about the minimum level that you want to get involved in the internet. Everyone's going to expect to check you out. They're going to want to look at a website. In fact, one of the clients I got just last week actually looked at all three of our websites and checked it all out and learned everything they could about us before they were willing to come in and actually become a client. And so you need to build something, but the good news is this: free, cheap options are available. And we're going to look at those. Some of them are good enough that within a period of just a couple hours you could build an entire website. And other ones you can build for free. And there are even Christian hosting sites that will host your website for free. So we'll talk about all those different options today as we get into it. So what's the first thing we need to do when we're talking about building a website? You need to pick your address, your URL, as it is called. And we talked about that a little bit earlier, but you want to pick something that isn't easily misspelled. You want to pick something that's fairly short if you possibly can. Some cases you're going to want to use the full name or something like that just because it'll be better for what's called SEO or search engine optimization that we'll be talking about today. And then you have to understand some of the games on the internet. Here is one of the games. If you ever get a website that is fairly popular, you can bet somebody else is going to buy all the rest of the URLs that are like it, only slightly misspelled or that have different endings. As an example, our website, faiththerapy.org. What happens instead of that if you type in faiththerapy.com? You will get another website that will list a lot of our competitors. And you'll get ones that won't list us, but they'll list a lot of other similar products. And what they will do is they will hold on to that and then they'll offer to sell it to you for a certain very large price. So you can decide at this point whether it's worth it to you or not. Mostly people will use .coms, okay? But if you're a nonprofit organization, you can use .org. But generally, if somebody is going to be looking for you, they're going to be looking for a .com. So you're better off to get the .com if it's available. If it's not, you can just change the wording a little bit and you can get something like it. Now in our particular case for our training website, we actually used the whole long name because a lot of the shorter names in counseling and so on and counseling training were already used, but also for our search engine optimization, we wanted to have that fit, our name fit the topic as much as possible. So we have freechristiancounselingtraining.com. Now we didn't go ahead and buy .org and .biz and .net and all of those kind of things because we chose not to get into that kind of a business. So many times people will buy all of those. And these only cost you like $5 to $20 per year. And then you can actually buy them for a longer period of time than that. And you'll get them cheaper as you buy them for a longer period of time. We just recently bought all of ours for 5 years, just to make sure we don't forget it. Now they will warn you, you'll get a notice, and actually if you haven't paid for it, it will actually come up and won't work. And they'll give you 30 days before they sell it to somebody else. But there are people out there just waiting for your URL to expire so they can buy it and then sell it back to you for a lot of money. What do you need to include on your website? Well, first, the full name of your practice, your contact information, directions to get to your location, pictures of your office and people, abbreviated resume, services offered, payment information or credit cards, If you take insurance, you should say what insurance companies you actually take. Any books maybe that you've published. Do not include too much personal information. This is not your Facebook page, okay? This is about your business, and you just want to give them what they need to know about your business, and of course in a way that's going to attract them to call you and set up an appointment. Don't include information not related to your business. And there's a question about testimonials. If you're going to put some testimonials on there, you don't want to put very many of those on there. And some people don't feel that's very professional. How about the structure of your website? Well, when people go to your website, what do they see first? Part of your home page, right? And sometimes they're not going to go beyond that. So you want all the most important information and all the best thing you can possibly say about yourself in your website on that page immediately that comes up. And within that view, so they don't have to go and scroll down to see the rest of the information. So you want a capsule of what's going on, of what you do and whatever, right there in their face as soon as they bring up your website. You need a clear link structure. That means if you have multiple pages, it's really easy to figure out. How many have been on websites that you just can't figure out how to do something? Or you're bouncing all over the place and you have to click from one page to the next page to the next page to the next page to the next page. And when you're doing a counseling center website, you don't want to have more than 2 to 8 areas or pages or other things. You don't want this big complex thing if you're just doing a counseling center website. And no page should be more than 3 clicks away. Avoid animation and welcome screens. If you want to use Flash, now what is Flash? Flash is a program by Adobe that costs a lot of money, but it allows you to do all sorts of wonderful things on your screen, like having all sorts of pictures go by. On one of our websites, you have a whole picture of the world going back and forth, and you have all sorts of exotic things that are going on. One of ours, the little cursor is a little set of dots that follows you down to places that you take it, and you can do all sorts of exotic things. But we're going to find out that you're going to have to make a trade-off, because it turns out that the search engines see Flash as one page. So no matter how many pages you actually have, it's going to think your website is a one-page website. And that's not going to be as good for search engine optimization. There are going to be trade-offs on all these different kind of things as to what you want. The recommendation is you need to keep it simple, need to keep it nice. If you want the bells and whistles, you can have them, but they're not the most important thing. They just give a flavor. Considerations. If you want to buy software to actually build your own website, it's actually fairly expensive. The most popular one is Dreamweaver, and on Amazon that's $378. If you want Expression Web, that's the Microsoft version, that's $137. Now another thing you need to understand about websites is that there are all these different websites that are built on different languages. The most usual one is HTML. That's Hypertext Markup Language. That's what that stands for, and that's what most of the websites out there are. Then there's another one called CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. On that particular one, you set up all these styles and it uses it throughout your entire website. It's actually quite a bit harder to use. I've got one website made with CSS, and it's a lot harder to use because you can't change stuff just automatically. It sets up this whole plan for what you've got. There's also ASP, Association of Software Professionals, which I believe you can really get for free. It's something that's sort of built with a lot of people working together. And then, of course, there's Flash. The program for Flash, if you're using it directly, is $574 on Amazon. So what are your options? First, you can just Find somebody in your church that knows how to make websites and have them build one for you. Or you can hire somebody professionally to build your website for you. Or you can use a number of different free or fairly easy ways of building your own websites. But there's going to be some real trade-offs here, aren't there? Versus how much money, versus the quality, versus how you present yourself, because this is what people are going to be looking at to see what they think about you. If your website is sort of all messed up and has all sorts of problems on it, what do you think they're going to think about you as a counselor? You obviously can't have your act together very well of what's going on here. Your website needs to be more brochure-like. It just gives you all the basic information laid out so they can just read it. Needs to say what you do and who you treat. Again, not too many bells and whistles, that those overcome everything else. Use warm colors. You want this to be inviting. You know, all black probably is not the best. Keep it simple. Have a friendly look. Okay, now let's break it down to your different options. First option is hiring somebody to do it. And there's so much competition out there in this area, it really isn't going to cost you that much. Here's one website, www.123triad.com, and they will build a website directly for you for $599. And it won't just be a template website or something like that. They'll actually have professionals working with you. You can design your whole website, and they'll build it for you for that amount, and there are no additional costs except you're going to have to be able to host your website and pay for your URL. It's custom website design, unlimited revisions. Website designed by certified professionals. They don't use templates. You provide your own web design, a one-time cost, no monthly fees. Multiple initial design concepts to choose from different designers. Dedicated contract personnel for your project. Search engine friendly, in other words, they're going to do a certain amount of SEO for you. Customer contact form, site map form, we'll talk about those later. No commitment, no minimum locked in, no hosting requirements. Unlimited branded emails with hosting, full service design, hosting, help, all of those kind of things. 24/7 customer service and 100% money back guarantee. And of course, on any of these things that you see on the web, you need to check out people's comments about them and all of those things to make sure that it's really a good situation. But they promise quite a bit, don't they? The next option is we'll call web hosting companies. These companies are trying to get you to host your site on their computers as a server. And in order to do that, what they will do is they will many times offer you free software to build your own website. The website builders are extremely useful for people who want to build a site yet have little or no code experience. And the reason is their programs are just made to take templates and so on and modify them, and so they're very simple to use. What should you be looking for considering a site builder tools? Consider the types of URLs that the site builder creates. In other words, are they doing something in this area? The number of pages you were allowed to make, the amount of versions of the site builder that you are entitled to in your package, the number and type of templates that are included with the site builder. It is also useful to check how much disk space and bandwidth you'll be allowed for building your website, especially if the site builder is part of the web hosting package. Also check the special features that come with the site builder, such as galleries, PayPal facilities, password protection, all of those kind of things. So what do your options look like? Well, like anything else on the website, we can pull up easily the top 10 site builders, and we can look at all their options and see how much they actually cost you. And we're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at ones that are primarily just you pay for them hosting your site. The cheapest one that I ran into, of the ones that actually have good software, is $3.50 a month. So you can see these are not really that expensive. And they use a particular program. In this particular one, it's called iPage, free domain forever, anytime, a money-back guarantee, template-based site builder, a wizard for setting up a blog. Another one called Fat Cow. Always have these interesting names, don't we? $3.67, and they use the same program. So a lot of these use the same program that will allow you to build your website as you go through it. Here's one called Cheap Web Hosting, $1.99 a month. Free domain, cheapest web hosting, easily published. And of course, there are a lot of these. I'm just looking at, glancing over 10 of them at this particular point. One of them that I did do then, because we want to check this stuff out in a real practical way, is called www.wix.com, because they say that they offer the website for free. So I checked into this one and actually built a website in about 4 hours. That's a fairly sophisticated website. They advertise that you can browse over hundreds of free Flash website templates and layouts. You can choose the one you like and make it your own, design your own website from scratch. Easy to drag and drop editor. I mean, all you do is take this and move it over there and take that and move it over there. Upload any kind of media. Update, modify, or publish in seconds. And this is true. I build the thing, basically all I had to do is hit one button. It was on the internet operating. It was that easy to use. No downloads or programming necessary. Search engine friendly. So let's look at that a little bit more. What are your steps if you're going to use that kind of a thing? Sign up for free. Hundreds of free Flash websites. Simply click Edit and enter the free outline editor. Then you customize. All web designs are fully customizable. Free fonts, pictures, animators, background effects, and more. What you basically do on that one is you just look at the website and you basically just type over the stuff that's typed on the website, and then any picture, all you do is hit the picture, it opens it, you go get the other picture you want to put into it, and it substitutes the picture. So it's just a substitution, but of course you want to pick a good template that's going to work for you and fit with you. Published in seconds. No downloading or programming necessary. Use our free server and connect your domain. Unlimited publishing. Design websites for everyone. You make as many as you want. Remember, they're all totally free. Manage with ease. Update anytime. It's free. You get templates from other places. Now, what's the catch? Well, we know there are always catches, aren't there? Well, the idea is that if you do their free website and do that, the website's going to look like this. www.wix, their company, then your initials, and then the name of your website. So is that going to be really good if you're doing this for your counseling center and your website? They have to type all that stuff in, and they only get to your name at the very end. Well, it is if you're just going to tell people where it is, and they can type all that stuff in. But if you want to now have your own domain name, now they're going to charge you for hosting about the same as the other hosting sites. And if you want to add e-commerce, they're going to charge you even more. So each additional thing you want besides your basic website is going to cost you more. But you can make a lot of free websites for just nothing, and they'll host them for you, and they'll all work. It's just you have to put up with that kind of a domain name that is fairly long, and it's really their domain name with just whatever page your website happens to be. But now let's say you want to build from a template. What's a template? Templates are designs that other people have made that they will allow you to modify. And I'm going to give you some different sites, but there's some sites that have thousands of templates. What they usually do is, of those thousands of templates, they will offer you a certain amount of those free of charge. But then other ones, maybe some of the better ones, are going to be like $50 or something like that. They're not really high in cost, but you can pay for some, or you can just use the free ones and just modify the free templates. But you got a problem. If we want to go the cheap way and we want to go the free way, then how are you going to be able to look at the websites after you build them? And how are you going to modify them? Well, there's a solution. It's called SeaMonkey. SeaMonkey. And it's a community project that people work on. It actually comes from the people who made Netscape, Firefox, and Thunderbird, and Camino, and some of the other kinds of things. It actually provides you a whole search engine and editing and everything, so whatever you do on that template, you can bring up and you can see on the internet, and you can modify that using SeaMonkey. What's the next thing you need to do after you download SeaMonkey? You need to find your template. The place I like the best and I recommend is www.metamorphos.com. It's METAMORPHOZIS. And that's because they have hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds of free templates, including Flash templates, CSS templates, and it'll even tell you. And it gives you an idea how popular they are, because on the template it tells you how many downloads. And sometimes it's 10,000 downloads. Now, what's one of the negatives? There might be a lot of other people out there on the internet that are using the same template. And so what you do, you're just changing the numbers and the kind of things on it. But you could find somebody else that has the same basic template or the same picture using it for something different, because there are that many downloads. Probably the average free Flash template on there has 4,000 downloads. But that just means you take it. Now, what do they get out of it? Well, they ask you not to take their information off it. So basically, your website is going to say, www.metamorphos.com on the bottom of it. Or it's going to have links back to their site, and so they get free links for SEO reasons. So they all have things, but this one has very, very good templates and pictures and everything else. Another good thing is, when you get the templates, you get all the pictures. And you can get all the sound that they already have, because they're giving you that for free. And normally, if you want rights to something, you've got to go out and buy it. You have to buy pictures and so on and so forth so you can use them commercially. And so on all these templates, you've got hundreds of different pictures and sounds and all sorts of different things that you can then use for free. You can add Flash videos. I just love the internet because there's so many free things. Here's one called Flash Slideshow Maker Professional. It's a free program you can use to take all of your pictures, put them together, make your own slideshow, and stick it on your website. Another one that we use is DVD VideoSoft Free Flash Converter. It allows us to take all of the videos from these classes and just stick them into this free program, and it transforms them into Flash that we can upload on our website, and that's how you see the videos on our website, by using these free programs to upload everything. So there's really no end that you can do, and you can change different things and work those things through. Now, how about Flash templates? Those are the exotic ones. I mean, you've got everything. I said we have one that just, scans the picture of the world, and you can have all of these exotic things and multiple pictures going by and everything. Well, on Metamorphos.com, they have a whole system they came up with so you don't have to buy the Flash software. You can just modify it. In fact, 2 out of our 3 websites are Flash templates off Metamorphos.com that we modified without having to buy Adobe Flash, because this is the way it works. First you go through hundreds of Flash templates that are free, and you select whichever one you want and you download it. And then you go to the HTML file and you open the file with Notepad. All Windows computers have Notepad. So you don't even have to have Word or anything else to do this. But this is just a big file that gives you all of the different pages, all of the different word things that are on the pages, and all of the different pictures. So all you have to do is you just go in there and you just change the names of all these lines. You just type in what you want it to read. And magically, when you save this, it all appears on the website. Your words appear, your pictures appear, your sound appears. And you can just switch all this stuff out by simply just using Notepad, and on this particular file, replace what they have with the stuff that you want to have. Now, there are some problems, of course. We've had some problems that some of the things don't work like you would think they'd work, and sometimes they're a little bit different, and you got to play around with them some to make it all work. You can also change all the buttons, because they have all these exotic buttons. You push this, it takes you to the next thing. It scrolls up or it scrolls down, and have all these exotic things that are going on, but they're all out of this one file. And all you do is change what you want on there. Now, you can't change the structure of this unless you get Adobe Flash and you know how to do Flash programming, which I don't recommend to you at all. You then open the image file and you add your own JPG images. So you can change all the pictures that are on there with your pictures. It's very easy to do. All you do is you take your pictures, upload them to the internet, and then you just put your names in there in place of the names that they have. You can change the music. Like on one of our websites, I didn't like the music that they had. I found another one of their templates that had music I liked, and I just took the music from the one template and stuck it on the other template. And another one, I did a search on the internet for music that was not copyrighted, and found music on that. And I just got the file and put that file in there, and now I have that music on there. So you can change all this stuff as you go along. You use SeaMonkey to open this template, and you look at it, and you can play around with it, and you can do everything that you can do. You can even, it looks just like you're on the internet. You're not on the internet yet. You're still going to have to go and get it hosted someplace. You can add the title, description, and keywords. We'll talk about that more when we talk about SEO. One of the good things is, as I said, we can go to the internet and we can search for it, and we can find free Christian hosting sites that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Then what do you need to do? You can eventually have to do your SEO. We'll be talking about keywords, about the values and links to other websites, about Google Analytics. Now, what's Google Analytics? It's a free program that Google has that allows you to put something in the code that will monitor how many people come to your website. And it will keep track of all of your statistics for free on your website. And so you can look up at any given day and see that 50 people went to your website, 10 people went to your website, 200 people, and you can watch the popularity of your website as it grows, because it'll give you all this information. Another thing you're going to have to learn how to do, and we're going to get into this nitty-gritty stuff in here a little bit, is submitting your site to the search engines. Now, what are search engines? Let me explain that to you a little bit before we go on. Different main search engines are like Google or Yahoo, Bing. And what they do is they go out on the internet and they look for stuff. So that when somebody is looking for something and you put it in their search engine, they can come up and tell you, okay, this is what we found on the internet. This is the page rank, and they rank things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as to how good your information is about that particular topic. And so when you then bring any topic, you put any keyword in, it's going to come up and it's going to give you a list, sometimes 1 million entries, sometimes thousands of entries on your particular topic, and you're going to be in the first page, second page, third page, and so on. Well, what do you know? How many people go to page 20? So you have this whole industry called search engine optimization. It's how to make your website in such a way that the search engines will like it and give you a high ranking. Now, there are other ways you can pay to get on those pages, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But generally, there's a lot of competition, and people pay large amounts of money to be highly ranked, because people looking for stuff go in there and they type it in, and that way they find you. Now, for your particular situation, this isn't as important, because if they put in Wichita for your counseling center, most people are only going to be coming from right around here, right? So they're going to put in Counseling Center Wichita. So the search engine is only going to list those in Wichita, and that might not be 2,000 counseling centers. So it's not as important, but you would still like to be to the top of those lists of counseling centers, wouldn't you? So you would want to do some search engine optimization. Now I want you to think about something. How does the search engine figure out and know about your website? Can it see your pictures? It doesn't know what your pictures are. Can it see what your pages are about? It can sort of glance at the words you've written on your pages, but that's all it can do. So what does it look at? These are called spiders, by the way. They're these engines that go around the website and they look for stuff. And of course, one of the ways they're going to look at your website is that you are going to submit your website to the search engines. So you're going to tell them, I exist, please scan my website and list me on the internet so people can find me. Because if you don't do that, then maybe the spider will find you and maybe the spider won't find you. But when it finds you, it's going to be looking at some things that you're going to have to add to your website. Even if your website is built, the critical things that you have to look at is first your page titles. Because it's going to look at the page titles on every page and get an idea what your website's about. Then it's going to look at a description. You're going to put a description of each page. And these, by the way, are all in code. You don't see any of this on your website. And then you're going to put it in a list of meta tags. And meta tags are a whole bunch of words that you are going to figure out that typify your website. Now, which tags do you think you might want to use? How about the ones that the people are going to put in and type in, so when they put that word in, they're going to find your website? So how are you going to figure that out? Well, there are all sorts of free tools out there you can use that will tell you what are the main things that people type in to find your type of website. As an example, we looked at our website and we looked at all the different things that people type in, say for our training website. What would you type in if you were trying to find our training website here? How about Christian counseling training? So what we did is we designed our entire website in all of our meta tags and all of our description of all of our pages to describe Christian counseling training. How about your pictures? How is the search engine going to know what your pictures are? And also, how is somebody that has a disability that cannot see, how are they going to know what your pictures are? That every time you put a picture in, it's going to ask you for a description, a short description and a long description. And you type that all in describing that, and that's what it is going to use to determine what your pictures really are, because it can't look at your picture and figure out what your picture is. And sometimes they'll see it's called keyword density. What it means is that there should be some correlation between your keywords and your page names and so on with what you have on your page. And so something that might help is you make sure, let's say your page is about Christian counseling training, that you use the term Christian counseling training over and over again, that exact term, in the words that you write out on your page. People have suggested that you need 4%, meaning that your correlation between what's written on your page and your keywords. One person said you need keywords there at least 3 times on the page. It's more of a proximity thing now, meaning that you want a correlation, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same words. They're very smart. Do you see what I'm saying? But the other thing you don't want to do, you don't want to just stack it. In the past, when this was bigger, and the search engines have backed off from it now, people would just stack things. It wouldn't even necessarily make sense. They would just take all their keywords and use them, 15 times on the page. Well, in the past, some of the search engines actually downgrade your site for that kind of stuff. If you play stupid little games of trying to manipulate them, they have the idea that they don't like you very well, and they might cut down on your page rank and the kind of stuff that is going on. Some people feel this is really important today. Some people feel it's not very important anymore at all. So the best advice I can give you is do what's normal to show your content and what you have on your website. How about links? What links are is that your website links to another website, or even better yet, a lot of other websites link to your website. Why do search engines see that as very important? Well, if you're a very important website, then you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be referring to your website. And so it shows that your website is more important than other websites that don't have very many links. See, on our training website, how many links do we have? Well, how many videos do we have that are stored other places? Hundreds. So we have a lot of links that go back and forth to our website and to other websites. They go to Google Video, they go to VEOH, and then we even have our websites that link to our websites. So it's a whole thing of building the best thing that you can come up with, and that is what the search engine is going to do. It's going to rank you. And you can even put something in your computer that will tell you the rank of any website that you come up on. There are a whole company, as I said, that will charge you lots of amounts of money to do this. We actually lost a significant amount of money because they did very little for us and accomplished nothing. So I ended up taking a course on this subject. And we do our own SEO, and by the absolute mercy of God, we're ranked #1 on Christian counseling training. But that's because we aimed everything at that. Now, there are a lot of other keywords out there because we had to do a search of all these keywords and figure out what the best keywords are. And there are a lot of good keywords like master's degree, counseling, different things, but you have to determine what are the things people are going to type in to try to find you, and those are the keywords you're going to want to use to get them to find you and allow your website to grow. So what are some of the programs? The place I usually go to is www.submitexpress.com. And the first thing they will do is all you do is type in your website, and they will submit it for free to all the different search engines. And so therefore that means that those search engines are now going to look at you to determine your ranking. Here's another one. It's called a Meta Tag Analyzer. It looks at the keywords you have in a page and gives you an idea how good your keywords are. Another one is a link popularity check. Checks the number of links to your site. Sitemap submission. Now what that's all about, if you want to give the search engine more information, you can make a sitemap. It's in a particular format, and you can submit that to the search engine so the search engine knows where to go and where not to go. Do you understand? You can have pages on your website and tell the search engine not to go there. But you can tell it where to go, and this map is what the search engine will use if you submit it to look at your website and know how it's all structured. Keyword suggestion tool. Find additional keywords for your website. What you do, let's say you put in Christian counseling training. It's now going to give you 50 other words that could describe that you can use as keywords that are similar that people might select looking for your website. So it'll give you a whole lot of other ideas, and it also gives you the number of times in a given month that particular keyword was looked for. Keyword traffic estimator. See the estimate traffic for your keywords. See, what did we learn? We learned if you get too specific, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to put all those words in there and are going to come to you. So generally you need to use things like Christian counseling or just counseling. Of course, the less specific you are, the more people are going to possibly find your website, but also what? The more competition you're going to have of other people that are competing for those same keywords. Meta tag generator. You just put in your site and you say, give me meta tags, and it will go and read over your text and it will give you a list of meta tags to put in. In some case, it will even make it in the format that you can just glue it in, and the thing's all taken care of. A page rank checker. It'll go and check where your page rank is. A page snooper. It'll look at your code and tell you how the search engine is going to look at your particular website. Broken link checker. If you've got something on there and some of your pages aren't hooked up, it'll find those for you. Link counter. Check the number of links present on your website. And reciprocal link checker. How many other people are linking to you? But what if you really don't want to do search engine optimization? What if you'd like to just pay for it? Well, there are a lot of ways that you can pay for it, and it's going to depend on how much competition you have. The first thing is called pay per click. That Google and Bing and Yahoo and other search engines will allow you to pay them money for every time somebody goes to your website based on an ad they put someplace. So they put ads for you all over the internet in areas that are correlated to yours to get people to then go to your website. But you have to pay them so much money for every time they direct somebody to your website. The other thing is you can pay them for putting your ad right above all the ones in the search engine, that whole list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 500 pages. Right above that and to the right of that, you're going to see a whole bunch of people, and it says that they paid for their positioning. So you can pay for different keywords, and you pay by the keyword. So can you see that this might cost you quite a bit of money, depending on how many people come, because just because they come doesn't mean they're going to buy from you or they're going to come to your counseling. The more recent ones on this are Facebook. You go on Facebook and you go and build up a whole bunch of friends, and you get a whole bunch of people that say they like you, and then from time to time you put stuff on there about your counseling center and about what you're doing, and you send out your newsletter to all your friends. So it's a way of building a network. Some counseling centers will ask people if they'll allow them, and even past clients, they'll keep sending them information. Twitter. Same thing. If you're popular enough, you can get some people to follow you on Twitter. They're probably going to get to know you and have a relationship with you and refer some of their friends to you. Another thing that's really important is if you can offer on your website things for free. The idea is this: if you can have some really good stuff that people want for free. See, why did that one website have all of those free programs sitting on it? So that people will all come to their website and use those programs, and when they do, they see their ads, and they get paid for ads, or you now hire them to do your SEO. So it's a way of advertising everything. It's a whole overall system that goes on here. So what do we need now? We've got our website designed. We're going to now host it. The good thing about the hosting is there are a lot of options. The first thing is at your church. Does your church have its own website, and does it have its own computers, its own servers to host that website? That's the way we do it. All of our websites are hosted right here at Word of Life. You can also go to nonprofit organizations that are Christian that just want to spread the gospel. Of course, realize even some of them have sort of catches involved with them, and I'll explain those as we go along. The first one I like is www.witnesstoday.org. And they will host your website absolutely free. And if you want to build a website, sometimes they'll even build your website for a donation. The next one is called ministry-webs.com. Free hosting, free web design, but they're going to put some free family ads on your website. And you have to pay them money to take those ads off or to host for you. Or www.christianhostmaster.com. They're somewhat limited to what they offer, but they don't have ads. And then we have www.worthofpraise.org. Free hosting, but no website design. But let's say you decide now, instead of that, you're just going to go out and buy your own hosting. Now, why would you do that? Because you want it to be reliable. You want it to be something that people are going, it's going to be there. See, what's the problem if somebody go to your website and it doesn't exist? Is that going to make your counseling center look very good? And how many computers can crash from time to time? So you pay for the hosting, and by paying for the hosting, you're paying for their computers and their backup computers and their tech support and all the kind of things to make sure that your website is up 24/7 and never crashes and no one ever goes and finds that it doesn't exist. So here are some of those. And these are all based on research that other people have done. The first one is called iPage. It's secure hosting. It's for small business owners and bloggers looking for a low-priced, feature-rich service that will get their sites up quickly and affordably. And this is a small business we're talking about. The next one is called Fat Cow. And Fat Cow is for novice webmasters looking for an inexpensive plan with unlimited storage and bandwidth as well as courteous customer support. Now, what's this storage thing and this bandwidth thing about? Because you're going to find that the cheap ones aren't going to have much storage or much bandwidth. What it comes down to is the size of your site takes up space on their computers, right? Like as an example, how much space do you think our freechristiancounselingtraining.com has? About 120 hours of video sitting on there. See, we're talking gigabytes of storage space that we need for that website. So we need unlimited storage space, right? But then you have a problem, especially if you're doing video, is that if you get too many people using that website, that's called bandwidth. How many people can be talking at your website at once? And how many people could be actually watching videos on our website at once? Because if that happens, what happens in the video? It starts jerking. It starts stopping. All sorts of things happen. So you have to have enough bandwidth on your signal for a certain number of people. And again, some of these places have unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage space. That's what you want. Most of the cheap places and the free places are going to have limited storage, limited bandwidth. And of course, it depends on how big your site is. What kind of bandwidth and storage do you think Amazon.com needs? Now, they have to have whole rooms of servers and so on. But that's the kind of thing you're looking at here. So Fat Cow is better for novices. And of course, you want to watch out and not get over your head here. Another one called JustHost.com. Best for inexperienced webmasters looking for a hosting provider that is well organized, easy to use, user interface. Bluehost. Webmasters looking for an instant website setup, an intuitive control panel, and options to purchase additional professional grade site builders. So each one of these has its pros and has its cons, but there's just a lot of stuff out there for you to do this, to make all this stuff work for you. Just hit one more. HostMonster. This is the best for professional or novice webmasters who require speedy customer phone support and are looking for a plan offering unlimited email accounts. So there's all sorts of different things. If you go down the list, you can just go to the internet and ask for the top 10 of each one of these things. It'll give it to you, the pros and cons of all the things that are going on there. I'm not going to go into a lot more of those. I have a whole list here of a lot more different places you can put your website on. But I'm giving you an overview of the general things that are available out there. Now, if you really want to honor God and make good choices, what are you going to have to trade off here? Well, it's going to be a very trade-off of cost versus the amount of effort versus the quality design versus the reliability. Because all of those things are going to greatly affect your website. Because ours all come out of the church here. Every so often I go up on the websites and I can't find us. Why? Because they're working on our servers. See, now a lot of the more professional companies are going to do that at 3 o'clock in the morning. But we have all these servers, and we have, besides the stuff that we have on our website, we have other websites, and we have like 50 computers on our system here for the school, and all of those kind of things. So it's a pretty massive project. And we haven't really helped them a lot with all of our videos. In fact, the last thing they had to do, and they were down for, is I just uploaded another course, which took a bunch of more space on there, and they had to dig around and find enough space to put all of our videos on there. But it's a trade-off. You know, you can do this all for free. All of our websites we built for free. Now, are they the best? Well, Logos is going to be probably working with us and using their professionals to maybe upgrade our websites up. But we still get good hits, and the miracle is the SEO. Knowing very little on this subject and so on, that somehow we're number one in one of our websites, and the others aren't that good, but they're still okay. Now, one of the reasons they're not that good, because another topic I just want to mention to you, is the idea of Flash. Because the search engine only is going to see your Flash as one box, what could you do from an SEO standpoint to try and make that work better? Well, just use Flash for one part of your website and then build in additional links and link everything else and have a lot of other stuff just besides the Flash. You can just use the Flash as one little box in your website, and then it will see all the rest of the pages that you have in your website and see you as a bigger organization than just if you put everything under the Flash. So the idea is what? Go out and do some looking, decide what you need, come up with your requirements of what you need, sit down on a piece of paper, write out how you would like it to be, and then decide what your option is going to be. Are you going to hire somebody to build it? Are you going to use some of these free programs that you get along if you host it on their program? Are you going to use templates and SeaMonkey? Are you going to use one of the Flash ones that allows you just type in and change the things on it and use basically what they have and not be able to change it? And what are you going to do for SEO? Again, SEO is not as important to you, but it still would be very nice for your counseling center to be the number one counseling center listed when people were looking for counseling centers in Wichita, wouldn't it? And for that, you're going to have to do all the SEO work, and you can use SeaMonkey or one of the other programs to put in the meta tags and build all of those kind of things. But as I said when I started, having a website is fairly essential for having a counseling center because people expect it today. And there's all sorts of wonderful things you can give, and it'll save you a lot of brochures and a lot of other things. And every brochure you have should have your website on it. So when people want to learn more, they can go to your website, they can get a hold of you, they can learn about you, and you don't have to spend 10 hours on the phone every day explaining everything to everyone. You can just send them to the website, they can get a lot of the information. Also on your website, you can put all sorts of forms. And they can download the forms to fill out before they come into your counseling center. Or you can give them additional information. A good thing in your website would do what? Write up a whole bunch of things of different problems and offer them for free on your website. So more and more people will come to your website to the answers to their counseling problems. And the more you put on it, the bigger your website gets, and the better your page rank is going to get. See, what if you were the best counseling center here on the internet for offering all sorts of video training, all sorts of articles and everything, or links to other places where you could get help for the top 100 counseling problems. That's the kind of idea of how you build this all up over a period of time, and you get more page rank and you get found a lot easier. But remember, you're going to have to find out what is it that you're doing, figure that out, and figure out also what are the keywords and what are the page titles, and the descriptions have to all fit together into something logical that people are going to want to find and people are going to want to do. And when they find that, then that work as a referral to come to your counseling center. Let's pray. Lord God, we ask you for wisdom. There's so much stuff out there and it's changing so often. And we ask that you would help us to put the things together that we need, that you might be glorified in Jesus' name. Amen.
Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no